Welcome to the newest edition of ATB All the Belts with Tyler and Bill, or Rubber Shoes and Little Shoes. We talk again about all the belts, meaning all the belts from wrestling and boxing and UFC. Although there was no UFC belts on the line this weekend, we are going to talk a little
Not
bit
much
about
boxing going on either, but
boxing will probably be once Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder go at it again, which I think is in October. They're scheduled to go at it again. But
hopefully,
mainly this show, we're going to talk about wrestling, and we're going to recap the Money in the Bank from last Sunday. And let's start there. So what did you think about the pay-per-view last week?
I thought it was good. I feel that there was a point where if the last few matches weren't as good as they were, it'd be a much different story. But I thought the last hour was so good it doesn't matter. I thought the opening Women's Money in the Bank was really awful.
Well, I thought it was. I was
cool with the finish, but
yeah, I was cool with the finish, but I didn't really care for all the participants. Most of the participants were
everyone just kind of seemed uncoordinated, not sure what they're
doing. All night we were both waiting for Becky Lynch to return, which she never did. So
and the next night, and she still hasn't.
Yeah. So maybe she's coming back at SummerSlam. Maybe that's their plan.
Especially now that Nikki is now the champion. So
yes. So
which is also
talk about that. So she won the Money in the Bank ladder match, and then she cashed it in Monday night, which I love when they cash it in right away. So she cashed it in Monday night and defeated Charlotte Flair, and is now your Raw Women's Champion, which I like. Yes, I think she's put in a lot of time and work. She's a very good character, and I'm happy for her. I'm glad that they gave her the shot. I don't think she'll be holding it for very long.
Oh no!
But I'm glad that she had the opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, it's just them trying to pad as many women's championship reigns on Charlotte as they can. This is the third time she's been cashed in, and she's had 3 championship reigns that have been shorter than a week.
But they want her to be the 20-time champion.
Well, they want her to beat her dad, which is 16. So
that's one thing I've always
you always complain about it. Yeah,
when they say 15-time champ. Well, guess what? That means they lost 14 times to become the champ 15 times.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a great thing or not to being the champ over and over and over again. But I do like I particularly like when they change belts a lot. I think it's better for storylines. I don't like the runs of a year holding the title or never lost in a year, because it gets a little stale. They had that run way back when with Goldberg that he never lost. Who's next? And it's good for a point, but
especially when they ended, it's so disappointing. But
yeah.
I think they
try. I think the one good streak that I wish never did end was the Undertaker wins at WrestleMania.
I'm just talking title reigns.
Yeah, I think they should have kept Undertaker undefeated at WrestleMania. I think that would have been great. He deserves something like that, and that's something where it's like it's 1 year after another. It's not okay. He's holding the belt for 4 years in a row or something like that. It's just a once a year thing. I think they could keep that up. That I wish that they had kept him undefeated. Had he retired and entered the Hall of Fame undefeated.
The last long reign was AJ. His was fine, I guess. Before that was Punk. That was 400 something days.
Yeah, when it gets over a year, that's kind of long. And you know how I feel about the Money in the Bank. If they keep it too long, I like them. I love when they cash it in right away. I think it's more relevant when you're like, okay, is it going to be now? When it goes months and months and months, it's like, all right, here we go again. Is he going to cash it in? Nope.
It can be interesting, but there is definitely times where you just completely forget who even has it.
So let's talk about the main event. Roman Reigns kept his title.
Not surprising.
There was a little bit of interference.
There was a lot of interference.
Yeah, I guess a lot.
There was a ref bump. 5 people got involved. Yeah.
So are you happy that they kept him with the belt? I thought once the Usos won the tag team champions early in the night, I thought if Roman Reigns was going to lose and they'd go where, okay, so we have gold and you don't. So how can you be the head of the table?
Could have definitely created an interesting story, but I do think at the end of the day, Reigns that was the right choice, and him and whatever they do at SummerSlam will be big. I do think the one possible problem that they're going to set up is where they're going to make, I feel like it's already started where Reigns is too strong. So when it gets to the point, like who's taking the belt off him, like there's no one, like hopefully maybe Big E can cash in and win it. But
that's what I thought they were going to set up.
He's being built up where there's no actual credible threats.
Yeah. That's what I thought was going to happen, where Roman Reigns beat up Kofi Kingston really bad. And then.
You mean Lashley?
Lashley's. Yeah. I'm getting my stuff.
Champions.
That's right.
I mean, you forget Lashley's a champion every other day.
Yeah. So. I'm not a big fan. I think he's a really good, he's got good physique and everything. He's just not he's definitely not great at cutting promos. And his wrestling style is kind of boring too, I think.
When done right, it can work. But I liked what they did on Sunday. Him just mauling Kofi was good. But
Cena comes back at Money in the Bank at the end of the show.
Which another akin to that is like him coming back really shows you what a star is. Like I think Reigns is a star, but even him, he's still not on that level of Cena. And there's no one like Cena.
And like he was saying, he's used to getting booed, but they're so happy to see him. They were cheering so loud for him Sunday night, and he came out on Monday night, and then Friday night on SmackDown, they came out and made the challenge to Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns said, "No, I don't think I'm gonna choose you." And Finn Balor comes out and challenges him, and he accepted the challenge with Finn Balor. So how do you think Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor at SummerSlam?
It's gonna not be. It's definitely Cena and Reigns still at SummerSlam. They're gonna probably do it on TV.
It could be a triple threat. They could end up making it a triple threat. You think they're just gonna pass over Finn Balor altogether?
I think for a big money match, you need Reigns Cena straight up. Which I don't agree with this, but I feel they're gonna do Reigns versus Finn for the title on just normal TV, or maybe just a non-title match where Finn beats him and then that sets up a title match for
I'm sure
like Survivor Series or something. But
this week they'll come out and say, "Wait, you don't just get to set your own matches. We're in control of this. That's probably gonna be it's gonna be John Cena versus Finn, and then maybe they come in and the Usos interfere with Cena because Reigns doesn't want to face Cena, and then they end up. I think it's going to end up being a triple threat match. That's my prediction.
I personally think that would be not the best decision, but I don't think they should feed Finn to Reigns like next week though, because like I was just talking about, you need more challengers after Cena. Because
I want Demon Balor to come back so bad.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's still got it in him. I love it. I love when he's Demon Balor. Hopefully, in SummerSlam, that could be a good time to come out. And we were at that SummerSlam many years ago.
That he won the Universal Championship.
When he came out as Demon Balor.
Popped his shoulder out.
Yep. In Brooklyn.
Yep, for his one-day reign.
Yeah. He has a lot of bad luck.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tuesday on NXT, I did not get to see it. You'll have to take over now with NXT. Go over what happened on NXT.
I didn't watch much. I just saw highlights. They're definitely building towards Cross versus Joe, but that leads me to another conversation with Cross in general.
Let's go back to Monday night where Cross and Keith Lee, where they seem, I don't know what it is. They get these great characters in NXT, and then they bring them up and they kill them. We talked about that in the last episode. where they just don't get the bump, it seems, for most of these NXT stars. They create such great characters, and like with T-Bar, they totally changed his character when he came up. At least the Viking Raiders, I think
They changed their names, but
they changed their
still
names,
the
but
same
at least
thing.
they're actually relevant still.
Yeah,
So, but most of the like Ricochet is such a great wrestler, and he does pretty good promos. I think that
here and there, yeah.
They don't give him the bump.
But he was getting over with the crowd, and I could see him definitely appealing to a younger audience too. But they just kind of cut the brakes off.
Yeah. But so Cross comes out, and then now he's back on NXT. It's like he made a debut in Raw, and then he's back on NXT a week later.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going with this. If that was based off of the post match with Jeff Hardy, I'd assume that Cross is going to be on both shows, but who knows? It was just a bad situation in general, and that brings up too, like they brought Goldberg back. Looks like he's going to fight Lashley at the pay-per-view, where they could have 100% had either Keith Lee or Karrion Kross a believable contender for the title at SummerSlam, and I don't think you can. It's not that hard to create new stars. Keith Lee comes back and beats Lashley, then you can totally have that believable for SummerSlam.
Yeah, as we talked about
Kross,
before,
an undefeated monster.
I think Vince he's just redoing the old thing over and over again. Like, oh, let's bring back John Cena, which is a good thing because he could still wrestle. He, if he wants to come and do a few months, he can do it. Goldberg's done.
Goldberg, he's brought out a few good matches and all that, but it's like there's a big difference. Like,
but he's good for like 5
bringing
minutes.
him in doing the same. But doing the exact every time they bring him back, it's just the same exact random title match, and then people get upset if he wins. He came back and beat Owens for the title.
Yeah, that's
when they had a good thing going with Jericho and Owens.
The crowd are totally suckers for these guys coming back out of retirement and winning. They do eat it. They eat it up, I think. No?
Maybe not always in crowd, but like
maybe on social media, but I think the crowd usually eats it up when they win.
Yeah, and I mean, Fiend in Goldberg was hard to gauge because it was in Saudi Arabia. But all right,
now let's get to the really good wrestling, which is AEW. So first they had the Texas Death Match.
Well, that was the main event. Yeah,
Lance Archer versus Jon Moxley, which was unbelievable. For the
IWGP.
The Japan, it's a U.S. title, the U.S. Japan title, or however they'd say it.
Yeah, it's just the United States Championship.
And so they faced each other before when Moxley won it originally, correct?
Yeah, in Japan like 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a year. I don't know. But that match I did watch. I'd actually call it disappointing, especially compared to this one. But when you're in Japan, you're limited to like actual like chairs in these like cheap tables, and that's all they can work with. And they did the best they can. But when you have the name Deathmatch in it, you expect more. And this one lived up to that.
This one was good. The fork to the forehead, unbelievable.
That chair bump Moxley took. Yeah, that's one of those things that they tease a lot, and no one actually ever does it. But God, that.
So this basically it's a hardcore match that happened for the death match. Was
basically
very good. Lance Archer wins, and then AEW introduces Nick Gage to the AEW roster.
Yeah, they introduced him at the beginning of the show, and he's going to fight Jericho next week, and they're going to have a no DQ match too. We could have 3 weeks in a row.
If Jericho is ready for this, because if you don't know anything about Nick Gage, you can. It was the
Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring.
Yes.
You can watch an episode that's on him. He is legit out of his mind. He was in jail at one point.
Yes.
On the show they show the pizza cutter. So he used that pizza cutter against Jon Moxley and cut his lip open, or his mouth,
cut his tongue.
Cut his tongue. he's a loose cannon.
He
I don't
slit
know.
David Arquette's throat.
Yeah, David Arquette, and he told him, he's like, okay, take it easy. Like, I know you're known for certain things, but I'm an actor. He beat the crap out of David Arquette.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Here's hoping
AEW can keep the reins on him because he seems to he wrestles the way he wants to wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully all things go well, and if it was a normal guy, I'd expect Nick Gage to take all the bumps, but I mean, who knows?
If you
there's definitely
a
timeline in the universe where Nick Gage murders Chris Jericho on national TV and ends AEW forever. There's definitely a timeline where that probably happens.
So if you used to watch or have saw video, like Tyler didn't see it originally, but he's seen videos on YouTube. If the original ECW, this could be like an original ECW match. This guy,
I mean, last week's match was just like that.
Yeah,
too.
But that's those guys are a little bit in control. They're not going to go off the rails.
It's going to be interesting because
this guy has potential to totally go off script and do whatever the hell he wants. So I hope Jericho's ready for it. This we may not see Jericho for a while after this match.
Well, this is the second match of 5 he has to wrestle to get to MJF. He has to. Right. Jericho has to win 5 matches, and
I forgot that this was one of those stipulations in that match.
I think Jericho wins, and then Gage snaps on MJF and cuts him with the pizza cutter or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So if you don't, I know some people don't like the blood and gore in wrestling. Both of us actually enjoy it.
That's like my favorite. I'm not like super.
If you like it, you'd have to watch AEW this week because it is going to be interesting to see if what he ends up doing, because he could totally go off the rails and
I want to see so bad Nick Gage versus Darby.
That would be a great match because Darby will do.
Darby is the most well known for getting his ass beat.
But seeing Gage and Moxley again would be great.
Yeah.
Just
there's a lot of good matchups.
Hopefully he's signed and is going to be a member of AEW.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. It could be a one-off, like when they brought in Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
But Gage just lost his title to Matt Cardona, so that could be a wrap for him, and he could be going to AEW. There's a lot of. If he can stay in control, Nick Gage is, I think, like they brought up on the doc, he's a guy that has an art of wrestling that's lost now, where he has a really great connection with the audience.
Yeah, for people out there that, if you remember, like Mick Foley in his prime, this and the Funks, this guy is that type of guy. This is old school, and he's a big guy, hardcore wrestling guy. Yeah, he doesn't mind taking bumps. He doesn't mind cutting himself. Yeah, so it'll be interesting if he stays on the roster for a while. It could be good. There could be some really good matchups. He could face Archer in a no holds barred match. He could fight Moxley, Darby Allin. There could be some really good matches. If you like that thing, we do. We definitely like the blood and guts matches. Oh yeah, so many different things they could do with him. So that's going to be, AEW is going to be really good. And so also with AEW, there's rumors of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk possibly talking and joining the AEW roster. So what have you heard?
From what I've heard, it's almost a wrap for both of them. I mean, obviously, who knows how legible that source is, credible. But I mean, Daniel Bryan, that's exciting, but I'm obviously a lot more. Daniel Bryan would be a big deal, but CM Punk, I feel like him going to AEW would be as big of a deal as like Bret Hart going to WCW. And hopefully if they did it, they wouldn't fumble the bag like WCW did.
Yeah, CM Punk goes to AEW, he becomes one of the primetime players. He'll be up there with Omega and the Elite.
And there's so many dream matches there with him and Bryan.
Hopefully they don't bring him in and he's part of the elite. You know, I think maybe that he'll be a good for the Dark Order. Maybe they bring him in for the Dark Order. That'd be pretty good.
I feel like he'd be good on his own.
As long as they don't put him with the elite. I don't think that'll work.
I don't think they would. That wouldn't, yeah.
Daniel Bryan, I really think
he's
I
slowing
think
down,
he should have retired after his last run in WWE, but you know, they love it. It's when those guys get to that point, especially a guy like Daniel Bryan who really had to fight for everything that he earned in wrestling. It's hard to give it up because you know that type of person really has a passion for it, and he's not just chasing money. He's doing it because he loves wrestling.
Yeah, and I think another big reason why you probably want to come to AEW is the potential of working New Japan and stuff like that.
Yeah, I really hope that they do that, like how Ring of Honor used to be really good with New Japan.
Before Ring of Honor did.
We've gone a couple where they had the Ring of Honor, you know, War of the Worlds,
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had all like the whole New Japan roster in town. That was a great take.
Yeah. I feel CM Punk could be it would be gigantic for them. You know, who knows how much it would be ratings boost, but if he came out at like the pay-per-view and then they promoted, you know, this Wednesday Punk speaks for the first time, like they could get a huge rating for that. So you know, hopefully everything goes well, because that it's still one of those things where like I can't really believe it until it really happens, because like it's been damn near a decade.
I know. Yeah, I think he's sick of getting his face beaten in MMA.
Yeah. I mean, he did other stuff. He commentated on MMA. He's been in some movies, but
yeah. So okay, we'll move on from that. MMA. We're gonna so just a reminder, Chaotic Wrestling, their next event is August 6th. I believe it's 2 Fridays. And we are planning on being there, and I'm still waiting to hear back from Chaotic Wrestling. I put a request in to possibly have some people on the show or interview. And so Chaotic Wrestling, Chase Del Monte, if you're out there listening, we'd like to talk to you and maybe do something with you as far as doing a live stream from your events. So that's going to wrap up the wrestling portion. Now we're just going to touch on UFC just a little bit. Like I said, there was no belts on the line last night. It was fight night. It was the return of TJ Dillashaw, who hasn't fought in I think it was like 2.5 years.
It's been a controversial 2.5 years too.
He popped on PEDs and you know, I was watching all the stuff that they replayed over the day yesterday. That they said there was a considerable amount of PEDs.
It was a lot. Yeah.
So it seemed like he did a lot of bad stuff, and he did come out and admit it. Once he popped, and he came out and admitted it, and you know, he came back, and hopefully nothing comes up, because we had Johnny Bones Jones came back a couple times from,
and it's been
an
off and on situation.
I think so. Hopefully we don't come out and find, you know, he took a test, you know, after the fight last night, and he pops again. Hopefully he's on the path to possibly another championship run.
Yeah, he's definitely really out to prove. Yep. He's definitely out to prove. I think he really wants to kind of try to get that blemish off, because he doesn't want to just have it end where he was on top, he fell, and then got caught for all that, because he doesn't want that to be his lasting legacy.
I mean, I gotta say, for being off for 2.5 months and having he went 5 full rounds.
He looked
in
better.
The main event.
Yeah, he looked better doing that than he did his last fight, where he lost in like 25 seconds.
Yeah, this was a really good comeback, because it always, you look
at Sandhagen's no pushover.
Right. You look at the ring rust, and it didn't look like he had much. He got in there. He being able to have the cardio ready to go for 5 rounds where you haven't fought in a match in 2.5 years. That's really good. So we had Misha Tate last week come back. She was victorious and had a good fight and looked like she never missed a beat. And the same with Dillashaw last night. So that looks good for UFC going forward. We have some names that we've followed in the past coming back and looking really good, and hopefully
along
both
with
of
the
them.
big names that have been created recently.
Yeah,
So
and so next week there's another fight night. It's gonna Uriah Hall will be fighting, and then if he wins that match, he'll be going for the championship. And then in 2 weeks we got the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. Fighting against I have to learn how to pronounce his name. It's the French guy. Do you know his name?
not even gonna, yeah.
And it's for the interim belt because Ogano has to give up because he didn't want to fight in a certain amount of time. So Dana White said, you know what, if you're not going to fight, then we're putting your belt up. So it's an interim heavyweight belt on the line. And
Very controversial decision, but
and the winner there is going to fight Ogano next.
Yeah.
So there's a few
pulling
weeks
for Derek Lewis.
And Amanda Nunes is also on that card. She'll
defending
be defending her one of her belts.
Most likely dominating like usual.
Yeah. It's I respect her so much, but
I've never had that fandom for. There's just some disconnect to me where I don't care as much.
Yeah, I don't think her fights are that exciting. Maybe it's
hard to be
so
excited.
Dominant,
yeah,
you know,
they're all like 40-second just squashes or.
Yeah, really, it gets bad when there is no.
But there's not much of competition right now.
Yeah. You know, Holly Holm. I don't think she has it to get to her.
She's lost to her twice.
Yeah. You know, it's like back when Tiger Woods was dominating golf. You're just waiting for that rival to come up, and it just, you know, sometimes it just never happens.
Yeah, I could see her having a career where she just retires as champion.
Just to touch on the boxing, you know, rivals really push sports. Like, you know, Fury Wilder 3 is going to get a lot of people to watch because it's a rivalry, and when they can have 3 fights, just like Poirier and McGregor, when you get the trilogies, it's great. That means you can't just force it on people. You can't be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna have these guys fight 3 times.
Yeah, they have to have entertaining close bouts.
It has to be really good fights, close fights, and usually it has to be they each win one.
Yeah,
you can have
there is times
where you know they were so close both fights that, you know, a lot of people think one person won over the other. And then that'll get you a good third fight. But we'll wait and see what happens. So we're going to wrap up this episode of ATB All the Belts. This is episode 2. What's that?
Oh, I was saying he'll be here on the normal show tomorrow. I will not.
Yeah, we have so look for the regular show ATB at the Buzzer, which usually launches on Monday evenings. And then I have the Rubber Shoes wrap up every day, which you can find on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to find our YouTube channel, you can go on any browser and put in atbshow.com. That'll bring you right to our YouTube channel. You can go to our Linktree profile in either Facebook or Instagram, and you can find all our social media platforms. And as we always say, we love your comments. Comment, share, and subscribe. And that'll do it for this week for ATB All the Belts. I'm Billy Rubber Shoes Corey. That's Tyler Little Shoes Corey. And that's going to do it. Have a good night.
See ya.